Vážený pane předsedo Evropské komise,
Honorable President of the European Commission, Excellencies, Magnificences, Honorables, Spectables, ladies and gentlemen, students, dear guests, dear friends. Let me most cordially welcome you, Honorable President of the European Commission, to the Great Hall of the ancient Carolinum in one of the oldest university buildings in Europe. At the moment, there are in the whole of Europe about 100 universities, the history of which is over 500 years. 70 of them are universities, and I'm very happy that Charles University is one of those. Universities have been playing very important role in the society and has remained for centuries almost the same. Educate young people, engage in research and development, be places of cultivated and free discussion and cultivate society. Last year, when we were celebrating 700 years after the birth of Charles IV, the founder of our university and one of the greatest Europeans of those times, we received visitors from 76 universities from 29 countries: Oxford, Heidelberg, Sorbonne, Heidelberg, Krakow, and others, even overseas. They signed the Prague Declaration in here. Honorable President, I would like to, at the occasion of your visit, quote from this Prague Declaration. Universities already in the medieval ages were well aware of the uniqueness of their position and of the fact that knowledge and education are inseparable values. They were always a place of meeting and free discussion and also free exchange of information and positions, contributing to better understanding the others and tolerance in the society. The Prague Declaration ends. People more and more feel that university values, universal values, the key values of this modern human society as humanism, tolerance, and openness, which are inseparable elements of democracy, no longer exist, and everything is possible, everything is relative. And universities are here to remind them of the fact that this is not true. These values still exist, and they are worth fighting for. Honorable President, you represent an institution which depends the same values universities in Europe have been fighting for. When I look at Lisbon Agreement, the legal fundament of the European Union, I read in the preamble about the inspiration by the European humanistic history and heritage, inseparable and unalienable human rights, democracy, equality, freedom, and the rule of law. European Union has contributed to the peaceful development after the war, prosperity of European inhabitants. The European values are very similar to the humanistic ideal of universities. As medieval students and masters traveled from university to university, using the knowledge of their colleagues for their own intellectual growth, but also for the improvement of their universities, the current students and scientific workers, thanks to the Erasmus program, travel from university to university and push the limits forward. I'm very happy that Charles University is one of the most demanded places in Europe for studies. In recent years, we've been facing negative development, and people in Europe don't trust that Europe can find efficient solutions. There are many people in Europe who feel that there are simple solutions out there of those complex problems, and Prague Declaration is warning against that as well. The economic crisis, which isn't over yet, brought high unemployment, especially to young people in Southern Europe. This year, unemployment of young people up to age 25 is 18.6%. That's quite a lot. Terrorist attacks, the threat of terrorist attacks, the immigration crisis, and instability at the eastern border of the Europe, annex of Crimea, etc., make us fear what the future will be like. Brexit and also the results of the presidential elections in the US are great challenges for us. The EU has given its inhabitants quite a lot of opportunities, but people want protection at the borders and they also want help in the social area. Only then the fascinating European project can find support. The speech of Joschka Fischer in May 2000 at Humboldt University started a debate on the future of the European Union, which actually ended up in the Lisbon Agreement. The White Book, which was presented at the occasion of the 60th anniversary of the signature of Roma Treaty, shows the direction forward. And this book and also the results of the elections in France give us new dynamics. Now we have to act. We have to act more than ever before, and we have to be efficient, and we must strengthen the trust in Europe and in everything good we get from the European Union. We need to, in small countries as well as in large countries, be more efficient, more active, and show that even though there are problems and challenges are there, we can adopt clear positions. Only if we manage this, we'll be able to uphold this wonderful idea of European integration. Differentiated integration in Europe is a factum. Not all countries are a part of Schengen or use Europe, but we want Europe democratic, prosperous, and peaceful. That's what we all want. And that's where I see the role of universities and their communities. Next year, we are commemorating an anniversary of founding independent Czechoslovakia. Tomáš Garrigue Masaryk and Edvard Beneš, they were both professors at the Charles University and took on board responsibility for the development of our country. Universities can provide European Union with a lot of input and can help action which will be courageous, very courageous, as Masaryk's and Beneš's. Open democratic society and united Europe do not come without saying. We'll have to do our best towards that end. Quod bonum Felix Faustum Fortunatum quae eveniat. Thank you very much, Your Magnificency, for the speech. And now I should like to inform you about the decision of the rector to award His Excellency Jean-Claude Juncker with the Gold Commemorative Medal of the Charles University for his efforts towards European integration and development of cooperation and understanding among nations. Vice Rector Škrha, please take the President for the medal, and I ask His Magnificency to award the medal.
Rector, Vice Rector, professors, students, presidents, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. It's an honor to stand in front of you in this great historical hall, in one of the oldest universities of Europe, and one that has been graced by so many great minds and leaders over the centuries. I'm humbled to receive the gold medal of your university and to follow in the footsteps of the likes of Ban Ki-moon, Joachim Gauck, Angela Merkel, Wolfgang Schäuble, and others. But as a Luxembourger, I feel an extra sense of a national pride to receive this award from the Charles University. This is because it was founded by and bears the name of none other than a fellow Luxembourger. You didn't know that, but I'm telling you. Charles IV was not only the King of Bohemia and later a Holy Roman Emperor, he was also a member of the House of Luxembourg. He was proud of his dual heritage, even if he spent more time here in Prague than in the then Duchy of Luxembourg, which he gave, in fact, to his brother. Would he have spent more time in Luxembourg, the Charles University would be located in Luxembourg, but fortunately for you, he spent more time in Prague. In many ways, this shows that true European roots of this university are real, university whose history has also often matched Europe's. It was split up into German and Czech sections in the 19th century before coming back together in 1945. Its students and academics later played a leading role in the Velvet Revolution, which paved the way for the end of one-party rule and which paved the way for the creation of this great republic. The students of history in this room will know that our past helps us to understand the future. And that is what I want to speak about today. Europe is first and foremost a union of people and shared values. We trust and must defend peace, democracy, tolerance, solidarity every day. This university showed the true meaning of that when it stood in solidarity with the Central European University in its time of need. That makes me proud of being European, something many people have become reluctant to say. Europe is and will remain the love of my life. Don't tell my wife. But when I travel to other parts of the world, I see that they are far prouder of Europe than we are. As we look to our future, we should not be shy about what our union has helped us to achieve. We have reconciled our history and geography by bringing together parts of Europe that were previously divided by an iron curtain. Anyone who goes to the south of this country can still see a part of the fence and watchtower so visibly divided this continent for a too long time. Europe has helped to stabilize democracy and defend the rule of law. We have got rid of internal borders, helping to bring Europeans together and making life easier for millions of people. We have the highest levels of social protection in the world and provide shelter for the most vulnerable. We are a positive global force, investing in other parts of the world, leading the fight against climate change and helping to make the world a safer and a better place. Now more than ever, a strong Europe is good for the world. We have a duty to preserve and consolidate this legacy, to protect it against those who seek to divide us or to dismantle our union. Europe's future must be about having the courage of our convictions. It must be about rediscovering that pride and that sense of purpose. Earlier this year in Rome, as we celebrated the 60th anniversary of the European Union, a new Europe of 27, vote to do just that. To take Europe's destiny in our own hands, to move forward together and build a safer, a stronger union, a more social, a more sustainable union, a more prosperous union, and a union that stays united. That is more important than ever at a time when our relative weight in the world is on the decline. In 1900, Europe accounted for around 25% of the global population. By 2060, it will account only 6%, even less. No single member state will have more than 1% of the world population by then. That shows how much we will need each other if we are to prosper in the future in a changing and uncertain world around us. Maybe this line of reasoning does not speak to those of you in this auditorium whose average age is likely less than the number of years I have spent in office. Maybe this does not speak to you as it does to your grandparents' generation, my parents' generation, who turned a post-war cry of a never-again war into a political program. That is okay, but that's in fact everything. It is all that generation ever wanted, that our lives would be so rooted in peace, in stability, that you might take it for the norm. Europe is the greatest place in the world to live in. To be born in post-war Europe and after the fall of the Iron Curtain is to have won the lottery of life. But what I would like to ask you, to ask us, is what are we doing with it? What legacy will we leave to the next generation? Because Europe's future is of your design. It is you writing the history books of tomorrow. You might have heard a lot of politicians these days talking about the future of Europe. I'm a little bit guilty of this. But in reality, it is you who should be doing the talking. It is, after all, your future we are talking about. The ballot box is one, but there are also many debates being organized. The Commission that I have the honor of presiding has already held around 250 debates with people across Europe and debated with over 500 national parliaments, social partners, and there are many more to come. Vice President Katainen will come back in autumn to have a citizens' dialogue with the students of this Univerzita. At least the rector promised me to invite him, and the Vice President promised me to respond positively to his invitation, so it has to be done. We have seen many different views expressed already. Some are pushing for a refocused union that does less more efficiently. Others are satisfied with the status quo, while some would like much closer integration across the board. In this country, as with some of your neighbors, much of the talk has been about the so-called multi-speed Europe. I don't like that wording. I prefer calling it Europe of different speeds, which is not the same, because whatever the speed, the direction is one. This is, as the rector said, already something that exists in Europe. Look at the Schengen border-free zone or the euro area. It is also not something to fear, not something that should be seen along new and old member state lines. I hate, by the way, the expression new member states, because being part of a team for more than 10 years is not new. So I will call them the most recent member states. The most recent member states are actually the ones driving more cooperation in certain areas, not the ones being left behind. The Czech Republic is a staunch supporter of the single market. And the Czech Republic, for example, is signed up under enhanced cooperation in the European patent rules when other countries, including founding members of the European Union, choose not. I'm also delighted that the Czech Republic is one of the 20 countries part of the European Public Prosecutor's Office to help tackle fraud against EU funds or cross-border VAT fraud. This shows that when enough countries want to move forward together on a certain issue, they can choose to do so. Nobody is left behind, as cooperation remains open to all our countries. And the most recent member states are clearly advancing at the youthful gallop. What is important is that we all go in the same direction, even if we do not go at the same speed. Different speeds are better than standstill. And what is important is that Europe lives up to the expectation of its people. When it comes to the debate about where Europe goes next, I hope you will agree with me that there are some things Europe should not do. It should not regulate the flow of toilet flushes or the height of children's swings, for example. I hope you will agree with me too that there are some things that Europe must imperatively do and do better. We have to do more to manage our external borders better and deal with migration effectively. This is something where I'm convinced that only by acting together we can advance. The European migration policy has already helped us to save over 500,000 lives since 2015 and reduce arrivals from Turkey by 98% in 1 year. Europe's common border and coast guard up and running with rapid reserve pool of at least 1,500 agents ready to assist the 100,000 national borders. We have deployed more than 800 customs officers and police officers in Italy and more than 300 of them in Greece. The member states of the Union also collectively took a decision to show solidarity with Italy and Greece and to relocate refugees. It saddens me that the Czech Republic has only relocated 12 people last year and none since. And I was very displeased to read in the press that the Czech government is considering to halt relocations entirely. I'm trying to understand national sensitivities around this matter, but more than just a principle, solidarity is a state of mind that goes to the very heart of what the European Union is about. Solidarity is also not a one-way street. Those who want to benefit from solidarity, such as in the form of European cohesion funds, must be prepared to show solidarity. For me, the Czech Republic and the Czechs are very European, so it must be European in migration too. Jointly agreed rules must be respected. Pacta sunt servanda. As the guardian of the treaties, the Commission watches over this, with the common European interest in mind. I sincerely hope that, as in so many other cases, the European reason, spirit and values will prevail and that the Czech government will reconsider its course so that we do not have to resort legal infringement procedures, what we will do if nothing changes. On the global stage, a united Europe is more important than ever. As others turn inwards, we have continued to show the world that Europe is committed to fighting climate change and to free, fair, rule-based global trade. Our agreement with Canada and advancing negotiations with Japan show our commitment to trading on a level playing field with partners around the world. Tomorrow, I will be speaking alongside with Prime Minister Sobotka, a good friend of mine, as Europe decides how it can work better together on defense. 3/4 of Czechs have said that they are in favor of a common European security and defense. These are the issues that matter for Europeans, and these are the issues we must work on now and in the future. Mr. Rector, how do you say magnificentia? Yeah, that's you.
Other colleagues also do magnificent.
Yeah, but I see so many distinguished professors with so different titles, but it was too long to be remembered. But all of you are excellent. What I wanted to say is that what we owe to all students that pass through this hall is this European commitment. We must leave them a union they can be proud of and can improve on. When I look around a university such as this, I'm more than hopeful for Europe's future. And I would like, and this is not demagogy, I would like to dedicate my award to you, to the youth of today and the leaders of tomorrow. May your hope guide us forward. I would like to finish on that note with the words of my good friend Václav Havel. He said, "Hope is a state of mind, not of the world. Hope, in this deep and powerful sense, is not the same as joy that things are going well, or willingness to invest in enterprises that are obviously heading for success, but rather an ability to work for something because it is good. Europe is good. We must work for it." Thank you.
President, for an interesting and inspirational speech with quite nice bon mots here. Every time when our country was a part of a larger community of European nations, Habsburg Empire, etc., an empire where we were adhering to Judaistic and antique tradition, we always flourished. Our university wants to be a part of the community of European nations as represented by the European Union. It's a great chance for the future of all of us. Dear Mr. President, dear guest, thank you very much for being here today with us. And let me finish by greeting you with a university greeting taken from Quod Bonum Felix Faustum Fortunatum Quesit.